Close your eyes and imagine yourself 30 years in the future on a Sunday morning. It is late autumn, and almost all the leaves have fallen off the trees. While you drive to church, you look out at the fields, which just a few weeks ago had a harvest, but now they are barren. Upon entering the church parking lot, you take in one final breath of warm air before exiting and rushing into the church. Upon entering, you begin to greet everyone, and it doesn't take very long because there are only a few members of the congregation, about 30. After greeting them, you begin to reminisce about how just 20 years ago there had been over 100 people in the church, and how the youth had walked through week after week after week, and how the children did as well. But now they are nowhere in sight. As you begin to reminisce, questions begin to bubble up inside of you. Where did they go? What could we have done to help them? How could we have prevented this? Now open your eyes. This picture is becoming more and more the norm in America, and if nothing is done, this will be what the church is, and churches will all function in a tiny, tiny bubble without any youth, and they will become a dwindling light with no hope for the future. Wait. We, as Anabaptist Christians, are capable of maintaining our youth by taking these three actions. The first action is this: helping them grow in their faith. This is a vital and crucial thing for us to teach them and for us to help them with, because through this we can help them in their battle against the devil. And this can be done through two different methods. The first method is through intentional communication. We have to be intentional when we talk to them. We have to talk with them about hard subjects, even if they don't want to, because this is a vital part of helping them grow in their faith. We have to help them through talking with them over really important subjects. And this will also help us build a relationship with them. And building a relationship is one of the most important things between whether or not they keep the faith. If you have someone you look up to in the church, you are drastically more likely to stay in the church. The second method is through effective teaching. As Becker states, Jesus is the center of our faith. This idea is supposedly the most important idea of everything that us as Anabaptists stand for. But I don't believe I was ever taught this in church at all. I might have missed it during the New Leaders class at some point, but I don't ever remember hearing this idea before. And if it is the most important idea of our entire faith, why have I not heard it before? The only time I ever heard it was in school. And yes, I go to a private school, and I go to a Mennonite school, and they teach me this type of thing. But what about those of us who go to public schools and they're taught things like evolution and we teach them creation? They have not the same background that we do, and they are not taught the same things. So they need our help to be able to discern what is true and what is not. We also need to teach apologetics because we teach them about creation and how it's true, but we don't have any evidence for it. Even though there is evidence for it, but we don't bring up any of the evidence. But they are taught evolution in school, which is said to have plenty of evidence. And if evolution has evidence and creation is faith, then why not believe evolution, which is said to be true because there is evidence? We need to teach them that there is evidence for creation and what creation is true and the correct method. The second action is incorporating them in church. There are plenty of opportunities on a Sunday morning for things for them to do. They can usher, they can lead songs, or they can park cars. Personally, I do park cars. And it's a really good opportunity for me to get to know some of the older people in the congregation who aren't quite as physically fit as some of the others. It's a great chance to build the relationship with them and to be able to talk to them, because I personally would never have even talked to them or even known their names before this. Another part of involving them is through community. And when I say community, I mean through having church-wide events that everyone is invited to and everyone can participate in. And if that's the case, then we can build the relationships between the older and the younger. And I am going to be honest in saying that yes, there is youth group functions, and youth group functions are good, but we need some things between the entire church, not between just the youth group and not just the older people of the church. We need them combined, which is why I'm going to say that you should build up these relationships through having church-wide events with each other. And this builds up with the idea that 1 Corinthians 12:12 says that we are the body of Christ, and as pretty much it says that there are many members and they all work together for one, so we as the body of Christ should be. If we have these good relationships with each other, we can work together much better than we would if we didn't. This also ties into the key idea of another of the key ideas of Anabaptists, and that is that community is the center of our life. And so we as Anabaptist Christians should be a very tight-knit group of people through our community together. Finally, I have my third action, and that is mentoring. We as Anabaptists can use mentoring as a great tool in order to provide knowledge for our next generation. If we look at the Bible, we can look at someone like Paul, who was arguably a mentor to Timothy. Paul even refers to Timothy as his own son, showing you the deep bond between the two of them. And if you want an even better example of mentoring, just look at Jesus. Jesus was the prime example of what a mentor should be. Jesus taught them in parables, and they had to discern for hours thinking about what this meant. And this is just how mentoring is. With mentoring, both parties need to put in hours upon hours of work in order for them to come to an agreement, in order for the mentor to teach the mentee, and in order for them to be able to help out the younger of them or the less experienced. And that is why that mentoring is so important. If you look at the 3 points that I have made, there is helping, there is involving, and there is mentoring. If you put the first letter of these words together, they spell out one word: H-I-M. Him. This is a sign that we should take these actions and not just run with them and saying that this is our idea and we have to do it, but that this is the idea that we can get from God, and that as the Lord's Prayer says, not my will, but yours be done. So we as Anabaptist Christians should take these actions and apply them for not our own will, but for His will.